All right, today I'm going to go over the barbell front squat, and the foot, the leg and foot position and all the hip positions and that sort of movement is pretty much, it's really the exact same of a barbell back squat. You know, the common flaws with the front squat are that, I make the joke, it's like yoga pants. Just because you can fit them on doesn't mean they fit. Just because you can get a bar and put it here doesn't mean you're in the right position to actually do a front squat, right? So that's because the human body is so malleable and mobility is so, you can create so many compensations and still kind of look like the movement, okay, the exercise. So what we're really going to do is focus on what is going on up here, okay? So that way the lower body can do what it's supposed to do, right? So from an upper body position, the first thing is, well, hand position, arm position, what should I be doing, right? A couple things that you see, again, and it's something you constantly got to work towards, right? Your entire hand should be on the bar. Number one. That's the ideal goal, right? We see so many people with the fingers, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, barely holding on. Well, I know it's like, well, mobility is an issue, and that's why I say doing the front squat is something where you really have got to learn it, right? Full hand should be on the bar. Wrist should not be canted extreme, okay? The hand should be straight, and we make the adjustments through our tricep and lat. And I say tricep and lat because primarily that is why people can't achieve the proper position, is because the inflexibility of the lat and tricep, right? And so what we do is this. We pitch the rib cage back to compensate for the lack of mobility in triceps and lats, right? And we can't our wrist way back because we're compensating for the lack of mobility or flexibility in the tricep and lat as well, okay? So before we get into locomotion, we first must provide stability. In terms of, you know, where I want to rack the bar, kind of how I hold it and some of those things, like one point to make is this, is that granted when I grab this weight, right, I have this weight out in front of me, my brain is saying hold the weight, right? And that becomes a real common problem is we grab the weight and we're really trying to hold the weight because of where we have it, it's uncomfortable, okay? Right? We don't want it sitting on the clavicle. Ideally, when you lift your arms like this, you've created a shelf, right? Now for smaller folks, right, you have bony type shoulders or your underdeveloped shoulders, you're developing your strength, obviously, while you're weight training, right? It can be a little bit uncomfortable, okay? So ideally, what we want to do is it's sitting on the weight of the bar, it's being primarily supported by your shoulders first. Secondly, then it is your hands, or if you have enough pec development, your top of your pec becomes the shelf, okay? So kind of summarize that, no, you don't want to be bearing all the weight in your hands, you know, and it's a very, like I said, it's, the brain is saying, oh my God, you have weight out in front of me, hold the weight, right? So now I really can't squat. I have to pull my elbows in and knees in just to squat, right? I don't want to bear the weight here, right? As I lift, the shoulders become the shelf. The problem then is people push the shoulders forward, right? And the hands get in this position. So I want to grasp the bar, pull it into my neck, and then I want to rotate, not push forward, okay? So that's where the weight sits on the shoulders, right? So if I even take the weight away, or hands away, the shoulders bear the weight, okay? It's just we have the hands there because it's a much easier way to re-rack it, right? The transition from the front squat, right, is a lot of times it correlates to Olympic weightlifting, to the push, to the jerk, and those sort of things. So just be mindful of where that bar is. It will be a little bit uncomfortable, but as your mobility and flexibility improve, you'll see that the shoulders and the pecs become a fairly comfortable platform. Just a refresher from the other squatting positions, from the hips, okay? We're not tilting the pelvis prior to movement. Glutes get contracted, okay? With a good just outside shoulder width foot position. okay? Those hips stay locked in over that rib cage. Again, we don't start by going and then squatting, okay? Glutes are contracted, we loose the glutes a little bit, we transfer that tension to the hamstrings and quads, and we slide down, right, come up, and then we come off as a whole, right? I'm not doing this when I squat, okay? So that's the lower body. From the upper body position, it's probably easiest if I get under the bar and show you. What I really want to encourage you is take your time warming up to get into close to ideal position if we can. So you might, like my first couple of warm-up sets has very little locomotion in the squat, okay? Well, my first couple reps, or my warm-ups, are first trying to achieve the best position I can so I can descend and ascend properly, okay? Unrack the weight, right? I want a full grip on the bar, full grip, right? And then I tilt, right? Tilt my shoulders, right? Tilt my forearms into this position. Because if I'm like this, right, I'm spending so much time trying to compensate and pull that bar back, so I'm just gonna lean. I'm gonna take my rib cage with me instead. So, rib cage is neutral, forearms are up, okay? If you're having a hard time getting this position, we know it's either the triceps or the lats, okay? So from this position, glutes are tight, big, long, deep breath. Hips go back, down, up, boom. Finish the glute squeeze. Relax, big breath, shoulder blades down, okay? My shoulder blades stay down, contracted, so opposite of a shrug when you squat with the front squat. Big breath, lats are engaged, elbows are up, down and up. Okay, you can clearly see that while I'm executing this front squat, right, I'm not doing a lot of talking, even especially in this exercise, descending and ascending, because I'm taking a deep breath, pulling my shoulder blades down, rotating, right, lifting my forearms up. What I don't want to do is get here and go, try to hold that position. Now I'm so hip unstable because my scapula has come away from my spine. So from the side, it's big deep breath, lats down, begin to lift, right? And that lats down lift creates a ton of tension. And that's what we're trying to do. We got to create this really stable, locked in upper body so I can front squat. And so we kind of joke around, and a lot of coaches, and we say, people go, well, coach, or Jeff, or whoever, my wrists hurt. I go, yeah, like the front squat is not super comfortable, okay? Either, it's a weird thing, it's like it hurts being out of position, but it actually hurts, but it hurts less being in the right position because you're creating this muscular tension to relieve the joint and tendon pain we feel. So it's kind of like, well, which one? Well, I'm going to choose the one that's uncomfortable because I'm contracting to achieve stability rather than just being flexed out of position. All that stress is on the bones, those joints, those tendons, those ligaments, and the muscles are just kind of hanging on, okay? So think muscular tension, right? It's still going to be pretty uncomfortable for many, but that's kind of like the weird conundrum. The front squat is such an amazing challenge on the upper body to maintain stability as the lower body goes to work, okay? So that's why you see in my programs to end this, that's why you see I have a lot of front squat, back squat combo, because the front squat is very hard to achieve a good position and hold over rep after rep after rep. So instead, we get that position, do a couple reps, we rack it, and then we go to our back squat. So that, folks, is the barbell front squat.